That's episode two. Tood? That's episode two. Can't say two. That's episode two playing in the background. And in that episode, I promised you a shop tour. Today is the day. Hey, before we get into the quick tour, I wanted to give you a little brief history about how I even got into the automotive scene. It started really young for me. My dad inherited a 1950 Pontiac from a relative of his when I was a wee little tyke. I honestly don't know who the relative was. I think it was his mother's husband, which you would think would be his grandfather, but I don't think it was. I really don't remember. Anyway, so this Pontiac showed up at our house when I was really little, and I remember tinkering on it with him, and man, the bug bit. That's also where I got my first car. It was a pedal car, and yes, I did work on it. So then we moved in the 70s to a big two-car carport on the south side of town. And this is really where I really started kind of cutting my teeth, turning wrenches with Dad. We had bunches of cars there. I think at one time we had 9 vehicles and only 3 of us were driving at that time. Yeah, my neighbors loved us, I'm sure. Oh, so anyway, so that double carport's where I pulled the motor out of the Chevelle. We just did a lot of work in that shop. And then I moved out into an apartment, got married, and there wasn't a whole lot of space to do anything, obviously, in an apartment complex. So I did have a couple of cars during that time, but we didn't do much work on them because there just wasn't a space for it. Then my wife and I found out about a rent house a couple of blocks away from our apartment. The house wasn't that great, but it had an attached shop to a two-car carport. And we rented it just for that. Thank you, Teresa. And that's where the vision really started coming alive, because it had an enclosed space, it was heated, you could hang some decorations up. That's where the vision started really coming alive. And then we started having babies. In the 90s, we built a house. In the 2000s, we moved to Texas. And in both cases, the house just had a 2-car garage, and our main daily drivers were in those spots. So not a lot happened until 2020. That's right. In the crazy year of 2020, my wife and I were sitting on a beach. Interest rates were at an all-time low. And she looked at me and she said those magic words: "If you're ever going to build a shop, I think now might be the time." That is all I had to hear. So I got with my banker, we refinanced the house, we found a contractor, and we started building this 24 by 24 metal pole barn shop that you're standing in today. Once they got done, honestly, it's just a shell when they get the project done. And my future son-in-law at that time, now son-in-law Jacob, he and I got in here and put all of the plywood walls up, did all of the, woodwork. Didn't do a very good job of it because my good friend Sammy San Angelo, that's a painter, came in, and I think he said he used 25 tubes of caulk just to fill the gaps. Sorry, Sammy. But got that done. And then we started working on lighting. And as you can see, it has a bunch of lighting in it. These are all fixtures from Sam's Club. They're Honeywell plug-in LED lights. Big shout out to Charlie, my electrician friend that came in and wired the shop and put in the electrical box, tied it to the house, all of those electrical things I don't know anything about. He tried to teach me how to bend conduit. That didn't go well. He said, just watch. So I was a gopher. But Charlie, thank you so much for that. And then we started getting into decorating the shop. But before we even did the first decorations, we decided to go ahead and bring Project Bruce Willis into the shop. So on December 23rd, 2020, on the Jeep's birthday, we brought him home. And then there was a long gap in the videos because it wasn't until episode 2 that you actually saw how it started coming together as far as decorations. So here we are today. First section we're going to look at is one dedicated to my high school car. It was the first car that I ever drove, a 1970 Chevelle. That is the rear bumper from the Chevelle, the actual rear bumper. And those are decals that I ran back in high school. These two on this side I bought from eBay to replace the originals. The I Am Love sticker is original, and the 93 KMBQ sticker was recreated by Caleb in my office that's a graphic design guy. Big shout out to him, because those stickers you cannot find. And then yes, that is the actual license plate that we ran back in high school. And of course we dropped some LED bulbs at the license plate and tail lights to kind of light it up at night. Looks really good when the lights are off. That is my t-shirt that I drove in high school when I got my driver's license. And that is the steering wheel I was gripping when I got the driver's license. So yeah, pretty cool. And then that's the build sheet for the Chevelle. Really cool. It was delivered to Red River Chevy right here in Bossier. And that dealership is at the same location today, 221 Traffic Street. Pretty cool. And then we had a bandana hanging off the mirror. That was kind of the thing to do back then. Look at that cool journey button. And then lastly, just a bunch of photographs of different vehicles that we've owned or worked on over the years. Now, as far as tools, this section is dedicated to air. We do have a hose reel, of course, and all the accessories, and we have PVC running through the shop that supplies air all throughout the shop. That is all compliments of my high school buddy, Barry Barton. Met him in 1980, still friends to this day. Big shout out to you, man, for donating the compressor and all the labor to make it happen. Then, of course, my first toolbox, still have it. Never gonna get rid of that. Next section is dedicated to the Jeep project. Lots of cool metal signs. My brother actually got me the Willys sign and the poster. And then we actually have an image of the Jeep on display at the World of Wheels in 2019. Don't pay any attention to that ZZ4 small block Chevy. It is not for the Jeep. Maybe for another project. We'll see. Spare tire from the Jeep. And then probably the coolest feature that hangs on this wall are the original brass dash plaques from the Willys. This corner was originally totally dedicated to the Bipsy 100 go-kart racing era, but we've had to repurpose it. Yes, that is the championship kart. That is the 2016 championship trophy. And that is the pit box that we actually used back in those racing days. It is now a workbench. And it is a workbench that holds another donated item, a drill press from Donnie McDaniel. And I've never owned one, and it has been so helpful. So thank you, Donnie. Put up some wire shelving right here just to hold all of the specialized automotive tools, shop towels. You get the idea. And then the pegboard. Everybody has to have a pegboard wall. As far as one of the more inexpensive, cheap ideas for you, nothing's worse than a drippy funnel after you change oil or what have you. How about taking an oil can, cutting the bottom out, and dropping your funnel in it and letting it drip at the pace that it wants to? That is a low budget tip. Hope you like that. One of the things that I absolutely have wanted from the very first time I thought about a shop was a breezeway effect. This is your big double front door. And in the back, we have a roll-up door. And when you open both of those doors, it makes for a very, very nice breezeway effect. In this corner, we built a workbench. As you can see, there's a tool chest underneath the workbench, a cart that rolls out to the vehicle that you can load your tools onto, but most importantly, the mini fridge. Yes, you have to have a mini fridge to survive the workshop projects. And that rear spoiler, talking about low budget ideas, that came off of a Monte Carlo in the junkyard. And we popped it off of there, used some old brackets from the scrap heap, and made it into a wall hanging. So that's pretty cool. Might give you a little idea there for some ideas for different automotive spoilers and such. How about this for a practical tip? This is a donated bench grinder from Jedi Joel Burris, Bipsy 100 crew chief. And look at here, it has a platform built onto it. You can C-clamp it to the wall, to the workbench, and get it out of the way when you don't need it. That is a cool idea. Moving right along, we have our central tool chest. This is a Harbor Freight US General. Can't say enough about the quality of those. I mean, it is just massively well built for what you spend on it. And then we have central heat and air. Whew, if I was gonna say, if you can only afford one thing, spend some money on some climate control. Fortunately for me, this was donated. This was in an apartment complex that was getting remodeled, and Bobby Brandon Heating and Air gave it to me, and my life group guys that I hang out with every Wednesday night pitched in and helped to get it connected into this shop. How can you say enough thank yous for that? And then even my mother-in-law got involved and bought the fan that sits to the left of the unit and blows the air all over the shop. Thanks, Irene. Right above the heating and air conditioning is a very, very special illuminated sign. This is a Walker Muffler and Pipe sign that was given to me by David Gunn. He was in our life group, passed away from cancer last December. Every time I look at it, I think of him. We miss you, David. And then lastly, the last corner, the most practical corner, is what I call the $5 Walmart pocket corner. That's right, each of these sections, that is a $5 Walmart shoe pocket. And you can put, as you can see, aerosol cans, cleaning materials, oil cans. It's all easy to find, one layer, easy to spot. One of the best things that I've done in this shop. This particular section is dedicated to my two 97 Z28s that I've owned. The red one I bought from Red River Chevy, special ordered it. We drag raced it. And then the silver one that I still have today. Hey, don't ask about that picture. That's the window sticker from it. And then my good buddy from the life group, Twitch, made me this cool neon Camaro sign. Made it himself. Wow. It is a cherished item in here for sure. Thank you, Twitch. So there you go. You have now gotten the promised John's Garage shop tour. I hope it's been fun for you. I hope you've enjoyed it. Hope you maybe learned a couple of tips on how to maybe set up your own garage. And I hope you'll stay tuned for the next episode, because you never know what you might see. Thanks for watching.